Oh, you're welcome back. Again, Abia State is on the spotlight, and I'm being joined tonight in the person of Eke Ako, who is a public affairs analyst. But before we even get even in this conversation, let's even take a look at this video that's placed Abia State on the spotlight so far. Then we'll now dive into the conversation. Let's take a look at this video.
You've not said anything. You live in Abia. Okay, so if you live in Omaya, you are the one that will provide data. The road you use, is it hard? Do your children pay school fees? Okay, but you see children that don't pay school fees, right? So the point is that this media chat is a serious media chat. So we are not here to massage your position. You can't come to a media chat and you are asking me to provide data about the measurable impact on work that is being done in the state where you live. It's irresponsible. Okay, that we throw this open for people to ask questions doesn't mean that people should be stupid. So if you can't feel, you've not said anything. You live in Abia. Okay, so if you live in Omaya, you are the one that will provide data. The road you use, is it hard? Do your children pay school fees? Okay, but you see children that don't pay school fees, right? So the point is that this media chat is a serious media chat. So we are not here to massage your position. You can't come to a media chat and you are asking me to provide data about the measurable impact on work that is being done in the state where you live. It's irresponsible. Okay, that we throw this open for people to ask questions doesn't mean that people should be stupid. So if you can't feel what is happening in the state where you live, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. When you come for my media chat, you must be prepared. If you don't have any questions, then you don't. Raise your hand. I'm at a loss. What do you mean? What do you want to hear from me?
Beyond road infrastructure, beyond construction, what impact can we know about the positive impact, the economic impact on the living conditions of the average Abia that your policies have impacted? That's not the question.
That's not my business. What my business is to deliver on my promises. So it is for you as a journalist, if you actually want, okay, to now say, because roads have been done, accidents have been reduced, travel time have reduced, there are electric buses all over the place that has the environment that is free of charge. There are 200 primary health care centers that were not here before. So when somebody takes ill, he can go to a health care.
Well, you're welcome back. Well, I've been joined by Eke Ako, who is a public affairs analyst. Eke, it's so good to have you join me on KORERO. Good evening. Very well so far, and you?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's just that it's a bit cold here in Scotland.
Well, interesting. I wish we can say the same thing also for Nigeria, but it's okay. But then, okay, let's even dive into the conversation so far. How will you assess the current economic health of Abia State as it stands right now?
Thanks for having me once again. Obviously, as we can see, in the towns of Abba and Umuahia. I haven't been there, but you could see that many people are beginning to see that there are changes, positive changes. The outlook of the place is looking better than it used to be under past administrations. Um, uh, yeah,
All right. So, okay, if we want to go by the narrative that Governor Alex Oti has been an outstanding governor in Abia State. For many, they will say he has been able to set the records right and outshine his predecessor so far. Do you share in this narrative?
uh,
Yeah, okay, if you can hear me, I'm trying to find out from you right
yeah,
now. Yeah, please go
yeah.
ahead.
Come again. Come again.
Yeah, I'm trying
Can
to
you come
find
with that
out
question again?
for many, they say that Governor Alex Oti have been a phenomenal governor in the state. He has been able to outshine and outperform his predecessors. Do you share in this narrative, AK?
In as much as I believe that from the pictures we are seeing that there's an uplift in the way things are looking in the state, I do not actually believe that Governor T has done better than the previous government, and the reason is that you can I do comparative analysis based on finances that have come into the state. Um, I have the figures here in front of me from reports published by the government. Ipazo's government used to get about 100 billion in a year. Otis government is getting over 500 billion a year at the moment. And there is actually nothing on ground. Actually, there is nothing spectacular on ground. As of today, Ipazo within 8 years got 1.1 trillion naira in revenue thereabout. OT in 2.5 years has got about over 1.5 trillion in state and LGA revenues. So I don't really, and if you compare what he has achieved with that amount of money and what OT has done, there is nothing major on ground. OT doesn't have any major achievement on ground to justify the amount of revenues that have come into the state and what has been claimed to that these revenues have been spent on.
So you're saying right now that Abia State in general has not enjoyed some form of economic productivity right now. Is that, if I understand it correctly, is that what you say?
Yeah, as I will honestly tell you, OT. There's this noise on. Let me start with personal cost. Like what he's spending on personal cost. He's not spending anything beyond what Ipazu used to. What Ipazu used to spend during Ipazu's time, until he used to be the same amount of money, roughly about 25 billion he was spending on personal cost every year, just until maybe sometime in 2024 when he began to the in 2025 when personal costs went up to 87 billion, but he was paying roughly what Ipazu was paying. And if you look at Otis achievements, let's be honest, what are Otis achievements beyond what you see on the media? Port Harcourt Road, a 5.9 kilometer road that Ipazo, I'm a civil engineer of 25 years, that Ipazo had done, from a civil engineering perspective, an existing road. Let's put that clear. That Ipazo had done the drainage on both sides, done some substantial work in it, and OT completed it. That's a 5.9 kilometer road. Ipazo had done probably, I'll be generous, about 40%. And then the road from Umuahia to Chuku to thereabouts, and the single span bridge, 1.5 trillion naira. There is nothing on ground to justify this expense. If you know of anything on ground that he has done, apart from being the best governor on social media, please let me know.
All right, so you're saying right now that Governor Alex Oti is the best governor on social media, and
yes, I said so,
in practical terms, there is nothing to even record in Abia State.
No, there is nothing on ground. He spent over 600 billion in capital expenditure, and I've just told you what he has done. Port Harcourt Road, 5.9 kilometers, 40% done by Ipazu's regime, an existing road. The road from Aruchuku to Hafia, about 40 something kilometers or thereabout.
Again, a lot of Abians will disagree with you on that submission. Of course,
yeah.
When you look at going by what we've seen in Abia and all of those construction going on in Abia. A lot of Abians will say, no, your analyses are not correct, your facts are not in tandem. But then, when we go by the narrative of Governor Alex Oti's administration and its blueprint, what has been promised and what he's doing right now, don't you think that the governor deserves some form of accolade at this point in time, going by what we're seeing right now in Abia?
I will go back to when I started. I said, yeah, there's visible improvement in the built environment. In Abia, Oti has not constructed any road. Let's forget about, he hasn't done anything in construction. Yes, he's claimed over 200 billion or thereabout. Let me give you the right figure. I like being factual in what he has spent in construction. I have the data here in front of me. Construction of roads. Where is it? Construction of roads. If you can just give me a second. In construction of roads, he has claimed over 200 billion in construction of roads. He has done no major construction project. What he is doing is rehabilitation. He has spent about 58 billion, or about 60 billion in rehabilitation, and about 17 million in maintenance. So he hasn't really done any construction of roads in Abia State.
But
he hasn't done
in terms of his project, his capital project. When we look at it generally, it has tended to boost the state in terms of its IGR. Or you don't think so?
No, there is no improvement in the IGR. What he did is clever. He stopped like Abia State University and other places, other institutions that used to collect revenue on their own. He is now collecting these revenues, but the state government now has this single treasury. I'm going to take you back before I go back to this, please. I like this is a very important thing that we want to see. Look, Governor Oti has spent over 600 billion on capital projects. And as I speak to you, there is no major capital project that has gone on in the state. Let's be honest. The only thing that is a capital project, the key ones are the finishing of Port Harcourt Road, a township road, Trongbi Road, 5.9 kilometers, or call it 6 kilometers, the road from Umuahia to Abereba, then the single span bridge, not more than 5 billion. Then the car park is doing at Abba. I don't see any other major project. Re-asphalting existing roads is something about 200-300 million. There is no major infrastructural project. There is nothing legacy that you can come into the state now and you become you go say, wow, this is happening. Now let me touch on something to you. I make this declaration. Abia LGAs have earned about 500 billion under Governor Oti. Abia LGAs have earned over about 410 billion or 400 billion in FAC allocations only. Then IGR, and if you add other capital receipts, you get up to 500 billion. I'm going to tell you that everything Governor Oti has done so far can be paid by the LGA revenues, excluding the state revenues of over 1.1 trillion. Now the big question is, where are the state revenues being deployed? So I disagree with you. I want you to tell me what monumental project in the state that you can see and say, this is what Governor Oti has managed to do. That is, you see it and you say, wow, he's done so much.
All right, but then a lot of Abians will say that the likes of our area market so far has received some form of boost, and also generally speaking, the economy of Abia State have been able to attract a lot of investors into the state, and by extension, when you compare this side by side with its predecessors, he has been able to attract more investors to Abia State. How will you quickly react to this? Your thoughts, please.
I don't agree with you. The Ariaria project was.
I'm not the mouthpiece of the governor. So let's just be on the same page. I'm not holding brief for the governor, but then I'm trying to just set the record straight. Please.
Yeah, I do disagree with you. I do disagree with you on Ariaria. Ariaria is a private sector. A private sector project introduced by Ipazu. And graciously, Oti allowed that to continue. The state government has no contribution to what is going on in an area. It is a private sector funded project. Let's be clear on that. So Governor Oti was gracious enough not to revoke that, that agreement that Ipazo had with the company. I don't know, a clean or something that's doing that project. It is not funded by the state government. So let's put that clear. Now, in the area of, you said the Abia's economy, can Governor tell us what is the GDP of the state? There is no improvement in Abia's GDP. If the government cannot explicitly say this is what the how the GDP of the state has improved, then there is nothing. Youth unemployment still stands at over 18%, the worst in the country. No major investor has come into the state to employ any Abian. There is no major, if you know any major investor that has come into the state to invest in Abia, that has employed 10 Abians, just 10 Abians,
Okay,
let me know. So upon all the noise, sorry, sir, 1 minute, sir.
Please,
1 second, sir. Upon all the noise we see on the social media, if you look at inflation, nothing has reduced. Cost of services is still going up. There is no economic improvement in Abia State. Yes, he has cleaned the Aba. Now, let me tell you, cleaning of Aba is the exclusive responsibility of the local government. Let's be clear. Cleaning of Aba, gutters and stuff like that are the exclusive responsibilities of the local government. And if the LGAs are allowed to use the funds that have come into the LGAs to work, they could do what the government is claiming to do. So we're not going to praise the government for doing the functions of the LGAs, right? The problem is that we've had bad governance in Abia for a very long time. And that is making Abians not understand what is going on. With the money that has come into Abia State, we need to see investors coming to the state, like Governor promised us. So I'm going to challenge you. Can you tell me the name of one investor that has opened office in Abia State and that has employed Abians? I'm giving you that challenge.
Well, I wanted to say that I'll accept the challenge, but then, like I said before, I'm not holding brief for the governor. Neither am I the governor's spokesperson. But then, we agree with me that so far so good, the governor has been able to leverage on digital economy opportunities and also tech-driven entrepreneurship programs for youths in Abia. Let's talk in line of this. You don't think that this will further accelerate and reposition Abia for the future, even going by what the governor is doing for the state?
Where is the program you're talking about? Who have been involved? Look, there is nothing actually. I follow Abia judiciously. I spend a whole lot of my time on Abia because I'm from Abia State. And let me address Abians a little for them to understand this point. Nigeria is a federation of 36 states. What President Tinubu does is to get all the money from oil revenue and all the other sources of revenue and share them to states. Abia State receives on average about 20 billion now per month. I mean, in total revenue to develop Abia. And there is nothing on ground. You're talking about digital economy. There is nothing on ground. All the developments we are seeing are on the social media. Who have been employed in this digital industry? Where is their office? I mean, you're talking about a government that has spent, I'm looking at it here, over 12 billion on research and development without having a single research and development office. Over 12 billion naira on research and development, and you can't see a research and development office, and there is nothing actually they are researching on. I would like to come into the area of finances when you give me that opportunity.
Well, yeah. you can dive into it right away because I'm looking at the figures also in front of me, but I'm curious at this point. A lot of persons will say that AK is coming from a political angle because he doesn't like the governor. I'm curious at this point, is this whole conversation from your own standpoint, is it coming from the point of being biased?
Well, anybody who knows me in Abia State knows that I was a constant thorn on Ipazo's flesh for 8 years. For those who don't know, I'm an Ungwa man. Ipazo is an Ungwa man. I fought Ipazo, my own kinsman, for 8 good years. Oti, my kinsman as well, according to what we are told. Also, is now the governor. I fought Ipazo for 8 good years. Every data you've seen on governance in Abia State anywhere came from me. I started releasing financial data on Abia State under Ipazo. So I am not for AOT or Ipazo. I am for Abians. So you cannot accuse me of that because for 8 years under Ipazo, I held Ipazo accountable. And I'm going to just say that I haven't done to OT a quarter of what I did to Ibazu. Ibazu's regime, I held them accountable. And so there is no political inclination. Nothing. I don't have any problem. I challenged Oti before the election because I didn't believe that he was the right candidate to leave Abia. And I'm going to tell you that I have been proven right by what I am seeing happening in the massive nature of not massive of massive nature of non-existent projects in the state that Abia's funds have been paid for right from 2023.
Now, this is quite interesting. So there's more to even come, even for Governor Alex Oti as he stands right now, from your own pot. There's more to still unleash. But then, in a scale of 1 to 10, going by doing it, let's even have a comparative analysis right now from Alex Oti's predecessors. In a scale of 1 to 10, where will you place Governor Alex Oti in terms of its economic drive for Abia State?
I can't place him. I mean, the only government I know that didn't do anything in Abia was TALG's regime. I've been clear about it. I will place the worst is TALG, followed by Alex Oti. Then Ibazo and Ojikalo. I don't really have so much understanding of how much money that came on there during Ojikalo. But I saw Oji doing a whole lot of things, a lot of things in Abia at that time. But again, EFCC indicted him for some form of financial crime. But I became so much active during Ibazo and the TALG's regime. Now I'm going to make a categorical statement, not based on sentiments, based on the amount of money that have come into the state and what is on ground. OT is the worst after TALG.
Well,
yes.
I wish we have time to dive into more part of the conversation, but let's take this to be the part 1 of this conversation, because we will definitely bring you back, of course, to help us understand why you've been able to take that position, placing Governor Alex Oti as the worst governor of Abia State. But I want to say thank you so much, AK Ako, for finding out time to be with us here on KORERO.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to if I can just say something before I go on that statement. I'm looking at the amount of money, 1.6 trillion, and I mean, people can say there's inflation, but inflation happens when you do projects. But what we're seeing in Abia State, like I've kept on exposing, you've spent about 100 billion on building public schools since 2023. There is no public school anywhere. You spent about over almost 40 billion on building hospitals. There are no hospitals anywhere. You've spent it's uncountable. Over 40 billion in building office buildings. We can't see them anywhere in Abia, and so many of them. So I don't see that's what the basis. I just wanted this to be captured. Yeah, I just wanted it to be captured.
Let's hold your thoughts, because I understand that a member from the governor's team is also following, and of course he will leave his thoughts with about some of the performance. We will definitely continue this conversation. That's why I said let's take this to be the part 1, and let's get the governor's spokesperson to also react to some of the things that you've said, that the governor is the worst governor in Abia State, taking you by your word. But again, thank you so much, AK.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I will take a short break right now. When we return, we will dive into other pressing national issues. Please stay with us.
KORERO, your front row seats to the most pressing issues, from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. KORERO, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com. Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store. Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, all Radio.